Hello, welcome to a brand new season of UConn Unleashed. I'm Joe Zone.
And hi, everyone. I'm Erin Connolly. Let's get ready for some football.
And we're going to start you off with 3 things you need to know before kickoff. This season, UConn has 50 new players. That's nearly half the team, and 30 of those guys came from the transfer portal.
The Huskies will play 6 games at home, 6 on the road, a game at Syracuse next month, and 1 at home against Duke in November. Should tell us a lot about how good they are.
The Huskies are projected to win 7 to 10 games this season. Last year, they were projected, remember, to win 5, and of course, they exceeded those expectations. This week, we had one final opportunity to talk with UConn's coaches and players before the big home opener.
And your sports reporter Dan Booth went to Stores where he found a team that's really ready to get this season going.
The UConn football team is coming off their first 9-win season since 2007, and with the way they closed out 2024 with that big bowl win against North Carolina at Fenway Park, that set the stage for them to potentially have an exciting season in 2025.
9 wins is good, and that's kind of the floor that we want now. That's something that hasn't been done around here in a long time, but the guys in the locker room, 9 is 9. Why not 10? Why not 11? Why not 12? We want to win every game.
There's a lot of optimism surrounding this team heading into their new campaign, but in the eyes of head coach Jim Mora, his Huskies still need to hit the gridiron and earn all of that preseason praise.
We have to go out and we have to do it on Saturdays. It can look good and bright and shiny, but if it doesn't produce, if we're not putting them in the right position to utilize what they do best, then we're failing. So that's our objective, is to make sure we give them a chance to go out and showcase their skill sets.
While the Huskies are expected to have 8 or 9 new starters on defense, the offense has a lot of returning players, especially at the skill positions and behind center.
A lot of guys counting on me, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I knew that coming back, that we were going to have a good team, a lot of good players, and that's exciting. Skylar Bell finished his first year in Stores with 860 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and he averaged an outstanding 17 yards per catch. With numbers like that, it's easy to see why starting quarterback Joe Fagnano is happy his top target decided to come back. He's a good player. I can't say enough good things about him. He pushes the whole room to be better and myself to be better. Bell has been a big part of UConn's ability to build a foundation for what they hope can grow into a winning culture, and he believes they're just scratching the surface of what this program can become.
Being able to finish what you started, I came here and wanted to help turn the program around and bring good things to Northeast football and Connecticut football specifically, and then I think coming back here was the right step in doing that, not only for myself, but for this program, for the state, and for this team. So I think building on that and coming out this year and ready to prove something to the world, I think it's going to be big for us. There are a lot of familiar faces in this locker room and a few familiar faces on their schedule, with UConn playing against 5 teams they played against last year: Syracuse, Duke, Buffalo, Florida Atlantic, and Alabama at Birmingham. If the Huskies do what they have to do, they could potentially rack up a bunch of wins again this season. Your reporter in Stores, Dan Booth, Channel 3 Eyewitness Sports.
Well, and Joe, it's a lot easier to get excited about UConn football when the Huskies are coming off one of their best seasons ever. That is, unless you're the head football coach.
It's true. Jim Mora doesn't want to focus on last season's success. Now, he acknowledges the 9 wins and the bowl victory did help open up a few more doors when he was recruiting. But he says it's hard to put any relevance on last season when so much is new this season. There are 115 players listed on UConn's preseason roster. 50 of them weren't on last year's team. 30 from the transfer portal, 20 high school recruits. That's almost half the roster, who had no impact whatsoever on what UConn did last season. It's why last season doesn't matter much. But it seems to me, bringing in a lot of new players, you have to spend more time getting them to learn stuff than maybe if they already knew stuff. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're absolutely right, and it's not just football stuff. It's how you operate. It's how we practice. It's how we meet. It's, our mode of operation. It's how we think, how we talk to each other. It's our culture. It's how we lift weights, It's how we move from drill to drill. It's everything, and then in addition to that, it's the X's and O's and the technique and the fundamentals and the effort.
UConn has spent much of the first 3 weeks of training camp just getting to know one another. There are 5 quarterbacks in camp, more than a dozen receivers, 18 offensive linemen listed on the early roster. Talk about having to work together as a team within a team. Is there one group that has more to learn? It's a harder position as a group to learn than the other?
That's a really good question. I think that offensive line is really difficult because of the calls that you're making and the things that have to happen right now. You know, when the ball's snapped, they're on you right now. Plus, you're protecting, you know, probably the most valuable commodity on the field, which is the quarterback. And you have to work in concert, all five of you. And then if there's a tight end and a back involved in protection, you have to be involving them as well. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then I would say on defense, it's probably the linebacker position. You know, you're controlling the front. You've got to be able to read, run, or pass and react appropriately. Things are happening so fast in front of you.
It's difficult to evaluate how much the team has progressed until the players move on to different competition. So the first real evaluation will come after this first game against Central Connecticut State. Of course, the number of new players is what makes it so challenging. You would think that football is football and everyone who plays gets it, but so much of it is knowing what the guy next to you does. There's a learning curve and not a lot of time to get it figured out. We're going to see some of that curve in this first game against Central.
All right, so let's dive into the Huskies' schedule. There are 6 Saturday home games at the Rent. UConn opens the season against CCSU. After that, Ball State comes to town September 20th. FIU is here October 4th. And then the Huskies are home for 3 weeks straight in November to take on UAB, Duke, and Air Force. The Huskies, though, will face some tough tests on the road. The second game of the season is at Syracuse, the first of 6 on the road. Other drivable road games include at Delaware, Buffalo, and Boston College. And there are plenty of opportunities to see the Huskies this season. Tickets for the home games are available right now. Just scan the QR code you see on your screen and get your football tickets today.